Welcome to Hey Therapist. I'm your host, Leslie Ross. With me is my producer, Jay Wesley Lindley. Let's get mental. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hey Therapist. We are not in the studio this week. I had to be on call on that beautiful full moon, which is not fun for an on-call night, but I had to be on call, so we didn't get to record in the studio. But I wanted to do an episode because I got my first viewer right in, and it was addressing the episode we talked about a few episodes ago where I made the statement and we were talking about the theory of if they want to, they will. And what this person sent me was the statement of, well, I was with this person and they never tried and they didn't want to and da da da. And I was like, okay, great. This is going great. Like, and then they attached this video from TikTok and is talking about how this person had these expectations of this other person they had just met online, and they were like trying to plan a brunch or something, and the guy had been contacting her, had been writing, they were in good communication, he was making plans, he was going to come her way for the brunch. And then he asked her, hey, what brunch places are in your area? Where would you like to go? Is there anything you haven't tried yet? And this put this girl off so much because he should have just planned it, and he should have just known where to go, that she just left him on red and didn't even respond to him, didn't message him back. And I'm like, bro, what? I think we missed the point. You know, in the viewer write-in, they were like, see, this is the things that show that sometimes they just don't want to. And I'm like, no, that's not what shows, because it looks like this guy wanted to. I mean, I would really love it if I'm planning a date with someone and they're like, hey, I don't know your area. Where do you like to eat there? And I'll make the plans. I'll make reservations if it's somewhere we need for that. But just give me, 2 or 3 ideas, and then we'll go to one of those. But since I'm coming to your area and I don't really know it, I'm good with you planning that and giving me that information. So I think that was actually really good communication on this guy's part. And I hate that the response he got from this girl was kind of that response, because he was doing everything he should have. Her toxic trait was thinking that some guy should just be able to read her mind. And that's annoying. Like, don't be that girl. People cannot read your mind. So I just wanted to make a short episode and talk about the if they want to, they will, with kind of a caveat. If that is not their pattern, then they may not know that's what you need. And like we've talked about a dozen times, wants and needs, and expressing that to someone, if they're wanting you to pick the place, if they're wanting you to take charge and be in control and pick the place and do all the things, that's all good and well, but you need to communicate that to somebody. You need to say, hey, listen, I really don't want to tell you where. I would love to see what you come up with. I would love to see what you pick, what your decision would be. And so I can know, a little bit more about you as well. And maybe you don't care. Like, I am the person who, unless I have very particular things in mind, like since I've moved back to the small town I grew up in, I very much miss Oklahoma City. I miss a lot of things about it, but mainly the food options. So when I go to visit, when I go to see my friends, we know that schedule is full. We know. They ask me, okay, where are we eating? What's going on? Because we know that you want to get all your foods in. But most of the time, like when I lived there, I didn't care. I really didn't care where we went. I don't care what we eat. These are the things that I won't eat. But otherwise, I truly, honestly don't care. And if that bothers you, then I'll make a decision or I'll give you some options. But I honestly don't care. So I'm going to let you take the lead, because maybe you have something in mind and you don't want to put it out there because you don't want to be in charge, your boss, whatever. I don't know what it is. But in this case, there are caveats to that. If they want to, they will, because maybe they don't do the things that you want them to right off the bat. Like, many people aren't going to tick all of your boxes just from jump. Sometimes it happens like that. It's rare. But sometimes it happens like that, where they just tick all the boxes, and there's minimal things that you're just like, that kind of gives me the ick, but whatever. But in this case, like, she didn't even give this guy a chance. To the person, the viewer, the listener that wrote that in, like, yes, and maybe he didn't know that that's something she wanted. That girl could have very easily sent a message that said, hey, okay, I get where you're coming from because you're trying to keep me in mind and you're trying to make sure that we go somewhere that I want to go and all of those things. But also, I would really like for you to decide. So can you just like Google it and do some brunch? And maybe he says, I'm planning it. I'm coming your way. And that's where good communication comes in. And if you can't communicate well from jump, then you probably aren't going to communicate well with this person, period. But you also have to let them know. You have to let them know, this is what I need. I need you to message me more. I need you to call me on your breaks. I need you to check in with me. I recently learned, because you don't tell your friends all the things. You don't tell your friends all the things until it's over. I recently learned from one of my dear friends. I've talked about some of the things that I've learned from my friends over the time. She was dating this guy, and he was not meeting her needs, and they had discussions about him meeting her needs. They had discussion on how to meet those needs. And she told me there at the end, because they're done now, that they weren't even friends on Facebook. After their first little breakup, they unfriended each other like sometimes we do. Not necessary if you're grown-ups, but that's fine. But he never would add her back. And they've been dating for a long while, like almost a year. And he never added her to his Facebook, never gave her access to his Instagram. They had Snapchat, but that's different. Like, it's weird, because even if you're not an active social media person, even if you don't post and do the things, to have your partner where they can't see your profile is shady as fuck. Like, what are you hiding? And if you have nothing to hide, if you say, well, I just don't use it, it's not that big of a deal, then add me back. Let me on there. This person also had pictures of his ex on there, which, fine. There's, they share a kid together. And when I started asking, I'm like, oh, is it like birthday parties? Because, like, we're grown people. We don't have to purge our exes if there's still some sort of attachment. If you like the picture, if it's a birthday party, if it's some sort of celebration. But he has pictures of him kissing his ex on his page while he's in a relationship with my bestie. No, ma'am. If I would have known, oh my gosh. And that's why she didn't tell me, right? These are the things we don't tell each other, because we'd have been like, hey, that is a giant red flag. I have an ex that still has a whole lot of pictures of me, very intimate, like our wedding pictures, on his Facebook profile. He has a whole new wife and kid and everything else who, he got while he was cheating on me. But that's okay. It's all right. But yeah, our wedding, like, there is no fucking way that if we are in a serious committed relationship, you are keeping active pictures of you and your ex on there, unless she's dead. That's the caveat. If something has happened and they have died, God rest their souls, fine. You can have the picture. But if it's just you and your ex, no. Like a group picture, family picture, an event, fine. I'll allow it. But there also should be pictures of me and you on there. And if you're not going to post them, then I'm going to post and tag you, and you're going to be okay with that. Because if we are in a relationship to the point that it's public, now I'm not saying every relationship off the bat needs to be public. We don't need to be dating someone for a couple of months and say, I'm in a relationship, we're in a relationship, change your statuses, post it. There's no need to do that. There's no need to do that. It's not necessary. You don't know where this is going. But if you are in a serious, committed relationship and you feel that this is going to be something long term, then you can do a soft launch. You can tag each other in pictures. You can be in the same place. You can have some pictures. You don't have to change you never actually have to change your status. Like, that's not necessary. But people are going to know that we are dating, that you are with me. And that's just a me thing. And I think most women are like that. We want our partners to be proud of us. We want the person we're with to, like I said, maybe not be the poster. Like, It would be great if you are giving me shout outs and you're posting our pictures and you're taking selfies with me and you're doing the things and all of that. I would love it. Wouldn't be mad about it. Listen, that would be great. If you're not that person, but I am, and I do want to post a picture of us and I do want to tag you in it and I want to see how much fun we had, or I want to give you a special shout out on your birthday or whatever it is, then I need you to be okay with that because that's who I am. And if you're not, that's fine. Then it's a discussion we can have. And maybe it's I can post the pictures, but I don't tag you because you're weird about that. Okay, I'm fine with that. It's weird, but maybe it's a conversation and we can work into it. I just find it strange. And I find it strange when there's pictures and things that you're holding on to. You don't have to delete the picture. Just hide it from your timeline, bro, ma'am, whoever it is. I'm saying bro because the story I'm using, but there's a lot of women out there that are kind of disrespectful in that sense to their partners. And if it hurts your feelings, it hurts your feelings. And the person that you're with, if they care about you and it's a rational request, they shouldn't have any problem with something hurting your feelings. They should be fine with the fact that your feelings are hurt and you want it to be addressed. Taking care of that for you and doing that part for you. It's important to feel loved. It's important to feel respected. And again, going back to, the fact that he had pictures of him kissing and doing all these things with his ex alone, no kid in the picture, no nothing, that's disrespectful to your new relationship. It's a big red flag, a big giant red flag. It's just disrespectful. And if you want to be respectful, then you need to look inside and figure out how you would feel about it. Like, how would you feel if your partner had pictures of their ex up? Because right now, there's probably some of you going, I wouldn't care. And you might not, which could be another issue. It could be a sign that you don't care enough. Because if you are with someone who you love and adore and cherish, and you feel like they're your person, you want to see none things about them ever having a life before you. I want to pretend that you never had a life before me. I know you did. I'll accept it. So whatever. But I want to pretend like I'm your very first love. And I want to pretend like I'm the only person you've ever loved. And so when someone is asking for something that's reasonable, then the response should be reasonable. You get to say yes or no, I'm not going to do that. The fact that you can't even let your person on your social media, what are you hiding? Like, that to me screams I'm hiding something. And though it may not be much of anything, it may be something minor, then why though? And if it's important to your partner, if they're asking repeatedly for this, it's important to them. So I want you to just be mindful when someone is asking for something and they're asking in a rational way, they're asking in a respectful way, they're asking in a way that says, hey, this is really meaningful to me, and they're being kind about it, they're doing all the things. If you care about them, take the time to take that into consideration. And that goes into the if they want to, they will. Because if you care about someone, you will stop and look at things from their perspective. You will consider how they feel about things. You will consider their thought processes. You will consider their feelings in just about everything you do. Now, if you're wanting to go do something and they're just being needy and saying, hey, I don't want you to go because I just want you to sit here with me, okay, listen. Let them go out, let them go do, because we all need lives outside of our relationships. And if they're not going to do something bad, they're not going on a double date with a friend, they're going out with buddies, or they're going to the woods, or they're going fishing, or they're doing whatever it is, let them, because they probably need it. And they may not know how to say, I need time to myself, or I need time to go do this. And maybe they are just going out with their buddies and you're taking it as a slight in the face, but maybe she just really needs some estrogen in her life. Maybe she just really needs that girl time and time to talk about things that she can't or won't talk about with you because it's uncomfortable, or maybe she needs to go talk about you and maybe he needs to go talk about you and just vent. But everything is fine, but sometimes we just need to vent. We allow that. We allow space for that. We allow people to be their own person while in a relationship. And if you feel the need to control your partner, if you are so afraid of them doing something when you're not there, then that is either a relationship issue and probably one you shouldn't be in, or it's a you issue. And you need to work on that shit and not put that on someone else, because it's not fair for someone to bear the brunt of someone else's malbehavior, if you will. It's not fair for you to carry in so much baggage that you're dumping it on the other person and trying to make them wear it when it's not their baggage. And I'm not saying we don't need to be respectful. You get that carry-on full of baggage. We're not bringing train cars. And if you're bringing train cars, you are working on that train car. It is in the shop. It is in the progress of being fixed. That's fine. You can start a relationship when you're not fully healed. You can start a relationship when you're not the person you want to be, or if you think you have too much stuff or whatever. If you're willing to work on it and you have found someone that you want to build a life with, you build that together. You don't go off and say, oh, I'm no good now, and you abandon someone, or you don't go into it knowing this about yourself and not give someone a heads up. If I know what baggage you bring into a relationship, if I know what you're carrying, and we've talked about that, then it's my choice. If I take that on, I take that on. I'm fine with it, because I knew going in, and I will have sat down and weighed it out and thought about it and considered it and figured out how it fits in my life and figured out if it fits in my life. And that's what everyone should do when you're starting a new relationship, when you're starting to have conversations about a relationship. It's never too early to say, these are my expectations. This is what I want out of a relationship. This is what I want out of a partner. This is what I want from you. This is what I expect from myself. This is what I bring to the table. These are my expectations of how this is going to go. It's never too early for that. I mean, it's a roll of the dice anyway, right? You just never know. And some people say, sleep with them, don't sleep with them. Talk to them the next day, don't talk to them the next day. Well, none of that is going to play a role and if there is a relationship, because if you are both in the same place mentally, emotionally, you have a connection, something clicked, there's a spark, there's a connection, there's the lightning strike, there's the whatever. It doesn't matter. You could have the worst first date ever and still build a solid relationship on that, because you both can appreciate the fact you had a terrible first date. You can sleep with them or not on the first date. That's up to you. Your body, do what you feel is right. If you sleep with someone and they say, oh my God, I can't believe they slept with me that fast, they're not someone I want to be in a relationship with. Listen, you weren't someone they wanted to be in a relationship with either. Because if they wanted to be in a relationship with you, it wouldn't matter if you slept with them on that first night or the 5th night or the 10th night, because they're going to put in the work, or they're going to say, wow, that really solidified. Let's do this, because we're connecting on all the levels. We are firing on all cylinders. Let's move forward in this. Let's have this conversation about what we are, what we're doing, what your expectations are. Do you want a monogamous dating relationship? Do you want them to be dating other people? Like, sometimes when it's new, you're not sure, but you may not want to date other people, but you don't know where they stand, and you feel weird asking because you guys just started dating. But if you want to only date them and say, hey, I have this connection with you and I want to build this connection with you and I don't want to date other people, and they say, well, I do, like, I don't know, I'm still in the dating and I'm still wanting to go out and see what's out there and all of that. Okay, then how does that fit in your life? Because if you're wanting a monogamous relationship, if you're wanting a serious relationship, then they aren't it. Are you willing to put that aside and say, okay, you know what, you can go out and continue to date, and I'm just going to let you know I'm not dating other people because I just want to be with you. But if you want to keep dating, I can't stop that, but I'm okay with it because I'm very interested in you. And whatever you say you're okay with, you need to be okay with. If you are so interested in someone and you feel like he or she ticks all the boxes and they do all the things and they want you to be that person, and you can't be that person or they can't be that person, then you need to be okay with that. If you say, okay, I'm okay with you dating other people, and maybe you are in the beginning, maybe you say, okay, you know what, you continue to date other people. I'm just letting you know, I'm not going to date anybody else. I'm all in. I'm in it for you. I want to date you only and see where this goes. And they say, okay, cool, but I still may go out on other dates. And you say, okay, that's fine. Let's see how that goes. So you may see how it goes and it doesn't feel good to you because you want their time and they're not giving it to you and you're not really asking for extra, but it doesn't feel good anymore. Okay, then you have your answer. They're not for you. Maybe they circle back. Maybe you stop dating and you go out and you start dating someone else, or you're just back in the dating world and they circle back around and they say, hey, you know what? I've been out there in them streets and it ain't fun. And I do know that we had a really good connection, but I wasn't sure that I was ready to just kind of settle into dating one person at the time. But I am now. Are you still interested? If you are, then you say yes. We're not playing games. You're all too old to play games. Everybody's too old to be put. They'll be like, well, you didn't want me then, so you don't get me now. And then be all sad because this person that wanted you is now back and you're saying no because of your pride or your ego or whatever it is. You can say, yeah, you know what? I'm still interested. Let's see where it goes. Because the thing is, they were honest with you up front. You didn't date them and say, I'm not only dating you, and they say, I'm only dating you, and then you find out they're dating other people and you call it off, and then they come back. Well, now we have a trust issue and a respect issue, and you just all kinds of issues, probably hurt feelings, all the things. It's fine to say, you know what, no, I'm not interested in that. It didn't work out the first time, and now I don't know how to move forward. But if you're interested in them and they circle back around, then why not? If there was a spark, if it didn't go terribly wrong, if things didn't end badly, and even if it did, I mean, if you really are interested in someone and you care about them, and even if you had a long-term relationship and you loved them and something bad happened and someone's heart got broke or both hearts got broke or whatever, and you say, you know what, it was dumb, and but I want to try again, and both parties are willing to give it a try again, then try again. But both parties have to be in it, and you have to let go as much as you can of the old stuff until you realize if it's going to be real, if it's going to work out this time. And we don't know. It really is a roll of the dice. It's a magic 8 ball. But relationships, love, all of those things are action words. They involve two people putting in the work. It's work. And it's not always going to be work. And sometimes it's going to be super easy and amazing and wonderful. And then life, and it may become work. And if you are willing to work at it and everyone is still invested and everyone is still giving their time, then most of the time it'll work out if you want it to. But both people have to engage. Both people have to want it to. And sometimes it just doesn't work out. And most of the time when it gets to that point, if you're healthy about communication, if you're in a good spot, then both people already know that too. It just took someone saying, this isn't it anymore. I circle back to, if they want to, they will, which is true. But there is that caveat of they need to know that they need to as well. They should know that they need to text me, and they should know that they call me, and maybe they don't. Maybe that's not how they operate. Maybe they don't know that you like gifts. Maybe they don't know that quality time is your love language. All of that comes with communication. If they're not doing something, especially in early days, if they're not doing something and you want them to do that certain thing, then you talk about it. And if they choose to not do that certain thing after you've talked about it, maybe even more than once, then it's a decision you have to make. Am I willing to go without this certain thing? And if it's important enough, the answer is no. I don't care how much you love them. I don't care how much you're invested. I don't care how much time you've already spent with this person. If you aren't happy and your needs aren't being fulfilled, then it's time to go. And sometimes that sucks. But I can tell you, again, I've said it many times and I will continue to say it. It is so much better to be alone than to be with someone and be unhappy. If my needs aren't being met right now, it's because I'm not meeting them. And let me tell you, some days I don't meet my own needs. It's fine. But I know I love myself and I'm going to continue to work on it. But if someone else isn't meeting my needs and they say they love me and they're doing these things, now I'm confused. Now I don't understand why they're not trying to make me happy. I don't understand why there's an issue. I don't understand why I'm not good enough. I don't understand what the problem is, and they're not telling me anything. And all of that stuff just spirals, and it brings that negative self-talk, like we talked about last episode. It brings that low self-worth, that low self-confidence, when you, in fact, are a baddie. You, male, female, whatever, know that you are a baddie and that you are worthy of love, and you are worthy of someone treating you with kindness and respect and loyalty. And if you're not getting that, then find it. Find it within yourself, find it within your partner, work on it together, or maybe it's time to figure out a new plan. So, yeah. So that is my caveat. That is the episode. Super short this week, but that's okay. We will see you again next week with a brand new episode. Thanks for listening. For my producer, Jay Lindley, I'm Leslie Ross. Thank you all for joining us. Please send any questions or comments through the website, heytherapist.com, or email help@heytherapist.com. They may be featured on the show anonymously. Hey Therapist is an SEOK radio production and is for your entertainment purposes only. Thank you for joining us. Make good choices.